Hello everyone. You've seen me talk about movie characters before many times, in many ways. You've heard me talk about, the simple movie characters, female movie characters, non human movie characters I don't like at all. But let's talk about a subject that I think would be nice to talk about antagonists, villains, all that. And I know what you're thinking. I have talked about antagonists before. You've seen that before. But I feel like there's still just some I haven't really discussed yet. And I feel like it's time I do a full list talking about antagonists. Even for the antagonists I have talked about. I can get more time to discuss, what makes them a cool villain and everything. So, I'm going to do a top 10 list of my favorite movie villains out there. From some of the finest of villains that I've seen in some of the finest of movies. This list will be ranked by my opinion. I will be ranking villains by how evil I find them to be, how cool I think they are, and just how overall I admire them. Now, I know what you're thinking. Shouldn't it be an unlikable type thing? Well, the thing is, even if a villain overall is unlikable, for these villains, they're so cool. They're very fun, very diabolical, that I don't care how unlikable they could be in the world of what they're in, because they're just so much fun to look through. And I'm including actual antagonists. I'm not including, simple, plain side villains or anything. No, these are actual antagonists from movies. And I'm ranking them by how much I think they are cool and badass and all that. With that being said, let's get ranking. Jack Torrance from The Shining. Now, this is a horror film, which you may think, should it count? Sure, why not? It should count, because horror is still representative to antagonists out there. And regardless of how many creepier looking guys there are, with Jack Torrance in The Shining, I think we can all agree he's pretty cool. He's pretty badass in every way. The idea is he has a family, but seems to go through a very weird type of idea. I don't kind of still processing what that was. And now he's just going berserk. Now he just wants to kill his whole family. So he acts as over the top and pretty insane as he can get. He's like, I don't know, I seem to consider he's kind of like if Jim Carrey were in a horror film. That's kind of what I like to represent him as. Because his performance is just so ridiculous, yet for context of the film, you know that he's coming for you and that he's gonna really kill you. So really, when you see him act like that with an axe or something, you know you're in trouble. That's what I love about this villain. He acts so over the top, yet is still desperate to kill you that you do not have time to laugh. You really gotta run. I mean, I know he's developed differently than most villains I would enjoy, but again, I just love the over-the-top performance and how it processes to him. But yeah, I think we can all agree he's probably one of the funniest type of villains that are still pretty diabolical and creepy. That's what Jack Torrance is. I really don't know what else to say. It's kind of just all I can think about. Over the top, but still scary. Norman Bates from Psycho. Alright, let's get to a more serious type of villainy. Psycho is also a horror film. Only this time, let's talk about the main antagonist of the film, who I admit is pretty better developed. Well, okay, I think I am starting to realize this kind of is a spoiler. Crap, what have I done? Psycho, it's a spoiler. Norman Bates is a plot twist villain. So basically, I just spoiled the movie for those who haven't seen it. I apologize, but regardless, I guess this movie's just too iconic. We may have already known. Either way, Norman Bates is cool because, yeah, again, he's a plot twist villain. Throughout the majority of the opening of the film, we think of him as a nice person, as he gets along with people just nicely. However, we learn at the end that he was the one behind the killing, as he was the one disguising himself as the old woman who has been considered to be the killer, which I'll admit is pretty nicely developed. I know that probably has something to do with the movie more than the overall character, but I'll admit this guy is pretty diabolical. If he acts like a nice person, well, overall he's ready to kill. I'm kind of into that, you know? The kind of villain who doesn't act anything like we would believe, yet when he does finally tell us who he is, he acts as crazy as that could get. That's something I can enjoy in most villains. Their way of surprising us. That's what Norman Bates does. So, props to him. Scar from The Lion King. Okay, I can actually see a lot of people here disagreeing with my opinion. I get it, okay? He's not like the equivalent of most villains, but, you know, I gotta admit, he's still pretty badass. His idea, like in the movie, we know he's a villain from top to bottom, even though he doesn't really do much evil stuff until the film processes. From the way he acts and the way he looks, and god dang that voice, I think we know he's the villain of the movie. And I'll admit, he really is. He's got that kind of idea that, you know, he's just really ready to take over the business. He's just gonna murder King so he can become it, scare some other people off. That may not sound too evil on paper, but from what I've seen in this movie, he's pretty diabolical, and I can really enjoy it. I know this probably is something a lot of people don't normally say, but I just personally think this guy's got a really evil mindset in him. He's just really there to kill someone so he can do what he wants. It's something I kind of feel into knowing for the movie. It's an idea that really does make for something interesting. So yeah, overall, you'll say what you want. I think Scar is pretty cool and pretty badass of a villain. One of those underrated type of villains, I think. Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Let's get through this over with. So, when I talked about how Jack Nicholson puts it over the top performance in The Shining, Anthony Hopkins performs a over the top performance in Silence of the Lambs. Only this over the top performance is nothing to laugh at. While Jack Nicholson can sometimes be funny when you think about it, Hannibal Lecter is not the kind of funny person you would think of, because his over-the-top performance is actually pretty creepy. The way he talks in this is creepy. The way he can look at someone is creepy. He's okay, let's get this over with. He's a cannibal. His name is Hannibal, and he's a cannibal. That's kind of the joke here. So yeah, he's there to kill and eat any human of his sight. But man, just he's been locked up. You come close to this man, you hope that he won't eat you, because he's pretty dangerous to think about. But that's just what I like about him the most. How dangerous he is, how creepy he talks and looks at us. Even this picture I have of him wearing the little mask and the jumpsuit. That when you see him like that, you know he's dangerous, and you know that you're should be happy he'll be locked up. Jeez, look at that. The Terminator. Despite being the main character, and okay, look, despite this not being part of the big franchise, in the first movie, he was a villain, and a pretty nice villain too. While the franchise has gone on, he has become an actual good character. But for the first movie, let's talk about how evil he was in the first movie. He's the friggin' Terminator. Come on, look at him. I can't see. How else can I say? He's just so cool looking. Okay, let's just get to the actual stuff. He's a robot who disguised as a human to go to the past to, I don't know, look for Sarah Connor, as well as do some robot killing. His abilities are pretty nice, and I can see a lot of fun with this character. Again, he's gotten a good role in the overall franchise, but for this one movie, let's just talk about how evil he is in this one movie. He's pretty evil. He's really just gonna kill a woman or do any type of evil he can in the past. So from what I've seen here, I run. Okay, I don't care how cool he looks. I run. Doctor Octopus from Spider-Man 2. Let's get to some good stuff. All right, Spider-Man. Here's a good one. Doctor Octopus is sometimes considered to be one of Spider-Man's greatest enemies. And so, with that said, I think we can all agree he's the best out of all the villains I've seen in the Spider-Man universe of movies. I can't say he's my favorite villain of the overall Spider-Man universe, like both in movies and comics and cartoons and all that. But for the movie franchise, he is my favorite one. Look at him. He's got them octopus robot arms. His idea was he wanted to build a cool machine to create something nice, but it failed. And so the Doc Ock is now trying to do what he can to get the machine to work. Even if that means doing some of the most evil madness ever, like kill Spider-Man. He would do that too, right? And all that said and done, Dr. Octopus is pretty insane, and I think he definitely represents the character best out of all the ones I've seen. All the other villains the Spider-Man universe had are cool too, and they probably could take up a good chunk of this list. But if I had to choose my favorite out of all of them, Dr. Octopus would be him. And I also love how the actor who played him, Alfred Molina, is going to be Doc Ock again for this next movie. That just proves how great of a villain he was and how his coolness can still work into more time being. So now we're going to see Doc Ock return in all the glory he had. Sauron from Lord of the Rings. This villain has many type of ideas. Well, we sometimes can think of him from the big eye that he has, or sometimes just look at him as a human from, say, Christopher Lee. However you want to look at him, he's diabolical. He's got to prevent them from throwing the ring into the fire. They need that ring. That ring is there for them. They're gonna grab that ring and they're keeping it. They're gonna kill a group of hobbits. They're gonna have that big eye cause mayhem and madness in Middle Earth. He has a lot of stuff just to get one thing done. All of the stuff he does just so he can complete his one mission. That proves how cool of a villain he is. He sends an entire army. He has a giant statue with a big fire eye. He has all that just so he can stop the gang from throwing the ring into the fire. That's just dedication, That's just how much fun this villain can be. How much he can do just to get one thing completed. It's really, really intense to think about. Joker from The Dark Knight. Any more words I can admit? We've talked about over-the-top villain performances before, but compared to how this Joker works, none of them count. This Joker in The Dark Knight is, honestly to God, pretty badass and pretty incredible. Unlike many Jokers we've seen in Batman's universe before, this Joker has a pretty cool motive. He's doing all the evil things we could see a villain do. He wants to create his own type of society, is what we can basically get from him. Not only is he pretty badass and can pretty much murder you if you look at him, but his plan, he's intelligent. He's an intelligent type of villain. He's one of those villains that don't fall for all of the cliches villain concepts that can make the villain lose. Because in all honesty, he is Joker really isn't smart. He plans all this, and he knows that even if some of the stuff that happens is cliche and Batman wins, he's gonna get what he wants sooner on. And my god, Heath Ledger's the Joker is the best ever. I can't get enough of it. Sad that Heath Ledger won't be able to portray the Joker anymore because of, But we can at least enjoy what he did do in this one performance for being a pretty nice performance. Thanos. So is this kind of a cliche to have Thanos high on the list? Or here on the list? I could say maybe so or not. So Thanos is the villain of the Marvel Universe. And what's his evil motive? Thanos' evil plan is to wipe out half of population to create a better population. I've heard a lot of people talk about how they think Thanos did the right thing. But did he though? I mean, I understand overpopulation can be a problem in most cases, but the way he wants to fix it does not work well. His way of wiping out literally half of the entire population, including all life of animals or plants or whatnot, that's not really something that's necessary. Come on, I know overpopulation is hard, but that's not what you need to do to fix it. But to be, Thanos is pretty badass. The amount of strength he has, the amount of ability he has, everything that comes to him, he just can destroy with the power of his glove. Okay, you may think that most of it came from his glove, but come on, of course it came from his glove. Maybe I should just put his glove on the list. You know what? How about that? How about number 2 is Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet? Screw Thanos overall. His Infinity Gauntlet is what's up. Actually, but you know what? Thanos overall, he's pretty badass too. He has all that strength and ability. He's even stronger than the Hulk, which is saying a lot, seeing how the Hulk has been known for being the strongest out of all the Avengers. But yet Thanos is stronger. So yeah, that's how cool he is. You know that he's stronger than Hulk. That's all you need to know. I just adore the type of abilities Thanos can have. I know I shouldn't root for him, but for a villain, he's cool. He's just so badass. He's definitely worth this spot. Look, did anybody expect? I don't know how many of you expected me to go with something else. Was anybody surprised? Of course not. Darth Vader, of course. Let's just get to the chase. Darth Vader's evil plan is to conquer the galaxy and become of the Empire to turn everyone over to the dark side. His abilities are some of the greatest I've seen out of all these villains. They mean much better. There's so much he does. Like, I talked about how much Sauron does to get one thing done, but Darth Vader, he does way more. He may not have a giant eye, but he has a friggin' Death Star. He has a group of stormtroopers and commanders. He has an entire suit that knows he's a villain. But I love this villain in all my love. He's not just my favorite villain out there. He's my favorite movie character out there overall. So yeah, that's why he's number 1, because Darth Vader is everything I adore from Star Wars. I don't like to root for bad guys, but when I think of how much Darth Vader accomplishes, I can just say he's my favorite movie villain out there, and one of my favorite type of characters to see in cinematic history. So, I guess that's over with. You like villains too? How about this? If you want to leave a comment on this video, tell me what villain you would like to talk about for me. What movie villain do you enjoy? Or what villain do you like to root for? How about that? Comment down below if you want to. What is your favorite movie villain out there? Or what's a movie villain that you just like to root for more, since you think, you think the villain has a good point or something. I don't know, just talk about a movie villain you like for me if you like to. Maybe I'll enjoy it. If I don't, then don't leave a comment at all and unsubscribe. Just do that. Everybody does that anyway.